Copper, during the early years of the electrical utility, was primarily used exclusively to build the electrical systems. And the reason we used copper, or the reason copper was used, was because it's one of the best conductors of electricity. It's much better than any of the other products available on the market today. However, as the prices of copper have risen, and of course, in recent years they've risen significantly, but in the last 20 years, in general, utilities have abandoned the use of copper, at least for circuit construction, and replaced it with aluminum and aluminum type products to build the circuits into customers' premises and to build transmission circuits along cross-country feeders. The reason the electric utility works as well as it does is because it has what's called a distributed grounding system, which means that at every pole, at every transformer, there is a ground to earth. And when there is a fault on the system or a lightning stroke on the system, there's a path for that lightning stroke to be routed to the earth. And what happens is when the grounding system is, let's call it compromised. In other words, when we have an absence of grounds, there's fewer paths for it to flow to ground, and what it does is it increases the resistance of the grounding system. So you no longer have the preferred paths to ground as you once have, and it kind of elevates the voltage levels of the equipment that's connected to it. And also with the absence of a grounding system, or with the grounding system being disrupted to a significant extent, it causes feeder protection problems. That relays that we have on our system don't work as well as they used to. We have, and it causes more extensive outages. In other words, outages may affect a greater number of customers. It may cause more harm to customers' equipment and to our equipment. What it really also does is it puts our line workers at risk. It poses a hazard to the general public, but more importantly, it really causes problems for our guys, because things that used to be at zero earth potential are no longer at zero earth potential because we're missing grounds. Well, because we've had such a tremendous increase in copper theft in recent years because of the copper, obviously the commodity prices of scrap copper have risen significantly, as well as the products that are made by copper or made out of copper. What we have chosen to do is we've replaced our pure copper grounding material with copper weld material. And what this is the material looks very, very similar. In other words, it's very hard to distinguish it from copper material. But it has very similar electrical and physical properties to that of the old copper grounding system. And it's cheaper. It has very little scrap value. And so what we're hoping is that would deter the would-be criminals from taking our material. The real question is your life worth the price of a scrap piece of wire? Because there's been many instances throughout the United States where people have been injured, in lots of cases fatally injured, from attempting to steal material from electric utilities, to include ground wire. It's more or less a problem not only for PWC, but more general for our customers. It affects you. It affects the safety of the electrical equipment in and around your house. It affects the safety of equipment in and around your business. It affects the reliability of the electrical system. In other words, the outages, and we have very few outages on our system, and when we do have them, they're of a very short duration. And what we try to do every day is to improve the reliability of our system and decrease the amount of time that you're out of power if you are affected. When this material is removed from our system, maliciously removed from our system, it causes all kinds of havoc for our workers, and more importantly, it can lead to extended outages for our customers. We need your help. Please report any known areas where we have copper missing or ground wire missing from our system, or any down wires where it looks like somebody may have tried to vandalize the system by climbing the poles and cutting the wires. Please report it to our hotline. If you see any acts of vandalism, or if you see any gates We're standing at a substation right now. If you see any substation gates open, any equipment enclosures open, anyone doing things in and around our facilities that look like they may be suspicious, please call law enforcement. Dial 911. We want to protect our facilities just like you want to protect your premises, and we need your help.